Hi, I'm Ashley Longball, and today I'm going to talk to you about the importance of spaying and neutering your animals. Think back to a time that you've driven into town or went to another city. How many times did you see a stray animal on the side of the road, dead or alive? This is a sad consequence of animals reproducing so much offspring that humans simply can't control or handle it. There are between 6 and 8 million animals that go into shelters every year, and only about half of these may be adopted out. The other half are sadly euthanized. Although some people view spaying and neutering as unethical, very cruel, or unnatural, there are many benefits proving that spaying and neutering not only humane, but creating better lives for owners and pets alike. My main points for spaying and neutering your animals would be that it decreases the amount of strays, neglected, and abused animals around in the world. It also decreases the aggressive and harmful behavior that a fertile or intact animal may have. It also decreases the risk of cancer and infection in reproductive organs later in life, and as well as the financial responsibility of your animal will decrease. Although I have only worked at Sebring Animal Hospital for about a year, my sister has worked there for 8 years, and ever since she began, I started volunteering there. Also, my family has had a lot of animals, large and small, so we are very experienced in the veterinarian field. Furthermore, spaying and neutering animals is not only important to human society economically, but it is important for animals to live a long, happy, and most importantly, healthy life. By understanding the main impacts of spaying and neutering, the surgery can seem very necessary and very ethical as well. Spaying and neutering decreases the amounts of strays, abused, and neglected animals throughout the world. The amount of homeless animals is increasing daily around the world. These animals can be a major nuisance in society and possibly harmful. And unfortunately, because these animals are seen as such a problem, they can be killed, and sometimes these killings are very inhumane, and that's never a good thing to occur. By spaying and neutering your animals, there is a chance by not spaying your female dog, there's a chance that she may become pregnant, and by not neutering your male dog, there's a chance that he could impregnate another female, and that's reproduction, and that's natural. But it can spiral out of control very, very quickly. Who is to take care of these litters of animals that were unplanned? A lot of people do not have the funds nor the time to take care of these needy animals. So many of the litters, unfortunately, are dumped or taken to shelters, both kill or no kill, or they're a major burden on the owner until they can finally rehome those animals, and this can be a main cause of animal neglect and abuse. And like I said earlier, there are between 6 and 8 million animals that are sheltered every year, and only about half of these are adopted out, and the rest are euthanized. And we have to realize that some of these animals are young, healthy, very adoptable pets that are euthanized every year. And even for the animals that are not, or even for the animals that are adopted out eventually, their lives are spent most of the time in a cage, and we have to evaluate their quality of life. An animal is not meant to live in a cage, and that's just not a very good quality of life to have for a very young animal, or an old one as well. To show how quickly reproduction can occur, here's an example. A fertile female cat can have about 2 litters a year, and each litter on average is about 4 to 6 kittens. One litter can reproduce 54 kittens in a single year, and that is a major number. A fertile female dog has usually about 1 litter a year, and she can have between 6 and 8 puppies, and within 6 years, those 6 to 8 puppies can reproduce 67,000 puppies. 6 short years if this cycle of not spaying and neutering your animal is continued. By spaying and neutering our animals, we're majorly decreasing the number of the stray population, and our problem in this nuisance in society is being dramatically decreased. Also, by stopping unplanned litters, the amount of possible neglect and abuse is subdued. Not only strays be harmful to society, but they can be harmful to other animals as well. Which brings me to my next point. Spaying and neutering your animals can dramatically decrease aggression, and harmful behavior. Intact males are usually kind of seen as the poster child, if you'd say, of violence or aggression towards other animals or people, but actually a fertile female dog can be very, very problematic and just as dangerous as an intact male. In both cases, hormones such as testosterone are very unregulated and can make extreme aggression. Also, female dogs that are in heat, pregnant or nursing, are much more moody and have a much higher chance of harming or even killing a human or another animal. Intact cats are also very, very dangerous, and there's a big chance of another cat killing another cat due to unregulated hormones and aggression. When an animal is fixed, if you want to say that, the level of sexual hormones that can make them aggressive significantly decreases. To give you an example of what a fertile female might be going through is kind of similar to what women might understand as well. A female dog goes through a 6-month cycle of heat every year, and during that heat it's very comparable to pre-menstrual cycle or PMS. So this female dog is PMSing for about 6 months on a year at a time, and that calls for a very, very moody, very unstable dog, and I think as women we understand those problems. But this is just another problem of not spaying your animals. But another benefit to spaying and neutering is that the behavior such as marking or urinating on objects, people, or other dogs to mark like a territory also decreases as well. And dry humping, which we all know that's just very embarrassing. When a intact male dry humps your leg, that's always fun. And roaming and running around, leaving yards, that just is very troublesome. And excessive energy is very much decreased. So that's always a very good effect of spaying and neutering. So the aggressive, harmful behavior can simply be stopped or really limited from the spaying and neutering. And although it's not 100% guaranteed, as anything in life is not 100% cure, they'll still have their true personality, and that bad behavior will most likely be stopped. Not only does spaying and neutering help animals mentally, but physically, the risk of infection and cancer later down the road is greatly, greatly decreased. Many intact males later in life can suffer from prostate infection, as well as testicular cancer and testicular cancer. I'm very sorry, excuse me. In unspayed females, ovarian cancer, mammary infections, tumors, and cancer, uterine cancer, and uterine infection, which is also called pyometra, which I'll get into later. These are all big problems that are associated with not spaying and neutering your animals at the appropriate time in life. Although there are treatments for these infections and diseases, the impacts are very limited, and majority of the time the animals will usually die from these diseases or infections. And an example of this is kind of a coincidence. It just occurred actually just recently. A female dog was brought into my vet that I work at, and the owner brought it in, was very worried, and said it was sick. And we actually discovered that she had pyometra, which is when the uterus, from having so many pregnancies and deliveries, the uterus becomes very infected, and it becomes very dangerous to that dog's health. And so we removed the uterus and the ovaries alike, and we thought she'd be okay. But 3 days later, she came back just as sick as before, if not more sick and weak. And after blood work, we found that the bacteria from the pyometra was still in her bloodstream, and unfortunately, we couldn't save her. She had to be put down, and it was very, very, very sad. And this is an extreme case, but it occurs daily, and cancer or infection in the reproductive organs. It's very painful, and the treatments have moderate to very limited results. And lowering the risk, virtually stopping possible infection of cancer, is much more effective when the animal is spayed before 2 years of age and has not gone through a heat if it's a female. Many animals are now being spayed and neutered as early as 8 weeks old to try to counteract this problem. A pet is a part of your family, and having to see your family member go through so much pain is very difficult. And by spaying and neutering your family at the appropriate age, you are decreasing the chance that your pet may go through such pain and such horrible death. This shows that spaying and neutering animals is extremely humane, and also by fixing your pets, you're being financially ethical as well. Pets are very, very expensive, as we all know. Between everyday care, unexpected vet bills, treats, vaccinations, and everything from pet care A to Z, they're very pricey. The expense will easily triple for a litter of unplanned animals. For example, if you even decide to sell a litter, you have the responsibility to have the babies vaccinated, wormed, and to feed them and take care of them, and this adds up so very quickly. And if your pet reproduces those animals and are never placed in a home, the population of stray animals significantly just increased. This created more pressure on organizations such as the Humane Society or rescue groups by state-funded organizations such as Animal Control that operate on our tax-funded money. By allowing pets to reproduce uncontrolled, more of our tax-paying money will be spent on assisting programs to cut down on this population problem. Spaying and neutering may be pricey depending on what veterinarian clinic you decide to go to and have the surgery done, but looking at the long-term effects, it's a very financially wise move to make. In today's economy, being financially wise and planning for future costs is very important, as we all know. And by having your pet spayed and neutered, you have not only eliminated the chance of unplanned litters to take care of, but decrease the burden on other people to take care of these strays. And having your pet fixed is not only financially wise, but you're being considerate of others, and that's very important. Understanding the importance of spaying and neutering a pet will not only help the animals live a longer, happier life, but owners and other humans will also have a better life too. Many pet owners do not fully understand significant impacts that spaying and neutering animals have, but a simple surgery can decrease the number of strays, abuse, and neglect in the world. It decreases the harmful, aggressive behavior that some of these animals can have. It decreases the possibility of infection and cancer. And lastly, it's just financially wise. And I think all of these points are greatly to be considered. It's a very great point. As pet owners, if you have a pet, we have taken the responsibility of another life that depends on our love and care. Our responsibility does not just end up feeding and walking our animals, but it is our ethical duty to them and to ourselves and to society to spay and neuter our animals and to take care of these problems now. By animals having this surgery, we help ensure them to live a longer, happier, and most important, healthier life, and at the end of the day, that really matters. Thank you.